Of good news from the president on the economy, but what is fact and what is fiction? We have the best person to break this all down with us today. Stephen Moore is a distinguished fellow in economics at the Heritage Foundation and the co-founder of the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. Stephen, thank you very much for being here. We're going to likely hear job creation is up, wages are up, inflation is coming down, gas prices are down, and we're not in a recession, and the economy is strong. But there are a lot of stats and facts out there that do point to economic storm clouds. Give us a sense of, because maybe it's not all bad, but give us the sense of the good and the bad here.
Well, Tom, first of all, I want to salute you because I listened to your whole monologue on what's happening to Ukraine at the top of the show. And I'm not a foreign policy or military expert, but you laid it out in a way that was so precise and accurate. I mean, I learned so much from it, and you're 100% correct. We have a weakling president, and as Ronald Reagan used to say, weakness is provocative. And I just want to say one thing about it because I feel so strongly about this.
Well, thank
I
you
worked
very
for
much,
Donald
sir.
Trump. It was fantastic. I'm going to get your producer to send that to me, and I'm going to blast that out to our 50,000 subscribers. But, Ronald Reagan, if Donald Trump had been reelected president, there is no way in hell that we would even be talking about a Ukraine invasion. None whatsoever. So I just wanted to get that off my.
Well, thank you, sir.
We
appreciate that.
On the economy, what are they trying to put lipstick on a pig, Tom? I mean, this economy stinks. We did get a good jobs report, no question about it, and I celebrate that. I want to see Americans get jobs, absolutely. But my God, we had a president who took the inflation rate from 1.5% to over 9% last summer. We still have 6 to 7% inflation, which is the worst number in 40 years. Anybody who goes to the grocery store, if Joe Biden's going to try to tell the American people on Tuesday night that he's conquered inflation, you know what Americans are going to say? What country are you talking about? Have you been to a grocery store? And then you've got an out-of-control border. You've got a situation where the economic growth rate has been pathetic. It is pitiful. We should be growing at 3 or 4 or 5% coming out of COVID. Yeah. And, the Congressional Budget Office is predicting 1.5% growth over the next decade. And there's one other, big dark cloud on the horizon. I can't wait to see what Joe Biden says about this one, Tom. What about the fact that he's increased our debt by $5 trillion?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He is the most financially reckless president in modern times.
Yeah. Look, I want to talk about the debt in a second here, but you're right. Retail purchases have fallen over the last 4 months. Spending on services was flat in December. That's the worst in the year. Housing and new car sales are down to some of their worst levels in a decade. And credit card debt among Americans is sky high. So it's it's very important for people to kind of put these things in perspective.
Tom, can I interrupt you just 1 second?
Yeah.
Because everything you said is right. Now, here's the thing. You're also right that Joe Biden's going to try to trumpet this economy. But you know what? Every poll says 70 to 75% of Americans don't agree with them. Yeah. Most Americans think the economy is poor or fair, not good or great. 70% of Americans said the economy was good or great under Trump. So I think Biden has to be careful here. If he's going to go out there and celebrate this economy, I think Americans aren't going to buy it.
Yeah, earlier this week, Speaker Kevin McCarthy met with the president for the first time to talk about the battle over the debt ceiling, which is really about spending or addiction to spending. The speaker seemed a little optimistic here. Take a listen.
President and I had a good first meeting. I shared my perspective with him. He shared his, and we agreed to continue the conversation. We want to make sure we do this in a responsible, reasonable way, and we'll be talking again.
Yeah, and much of the growth and inflation that we do have is due to government spending. Explain why budget cuts will make a difference and make the economy stronger. And while you're saying that, I want to run this graphic because it gives you a sense of perspective on what $30 trillion really looks like as you kind of talk to us about this, because we have to get it under control. And Republicans are the only ones who are going to seem to have a strategy to do it.
Well, thank you for showing a picture of how massive our debt is, because, most Americans, including myself, I have a hard time distinguishing between a million, a billion, and a trillion. I mean, the numbers are so gigantic, Tom, that we've all become kind of desensitized to it. We all know maybe $1,000 is a lot of money, but 1,000 and then a million, a million is 1,000,000, and a trillion is a million million.
Yeah.
There are 12 zeros on $1 trillion. And so we've taken this debt. When I first came to Washington in 1984, the debt was $1.5 trillion. Now it's $31.5 trillion. Biden's added $4 or $5 trillion on it. The Congressional Budget Office says if we stay on his course, Tom, we're going to add another $15 trillion. This is a financial train wreck. I don't know if it's going to happen in 6 weeks or 6 months or 2 years, but it will happen. I guarantee you, we are going to go over a financial cliff if this happens, and it'll make what happened in 2008 when we had the mini depression look like a picnic in comparison. It'll destroy the economy. So I'm with the Republicans. We've got to have a deal that gets us to a balanced budget that cuts massive amounts of. We got to take a chainsaw, Tom, to this out of control budget.
Yeah, and we're looking at the screen. Those are all pallets of $100 bills that are all stacked at high, and then this is done to scale to the Statue of Liberty. 15 seconds, Stephen, before I let you go. What's one word or phrase that people should beware when they hear the president say it on Tuesday? And by the way, this goes for both parties. They use a lot of these euphemisms and these phrases to try and convince people that it's a good thing, but maybe it's not. Give me one.
Success. He's going to say he's been a success, and in almost every way, as you started this show by saying, and now I'm adding to you what you said with respect to the economy. He has been a total failure, not a success.
All right, Stephen Moore, we will see what he says. The big speech is Tuesday night, and we will bring it to you here on Newsmax. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Tom.